Hello, welcome to Watching Books, the podcast where we discuss only books that have been adapted into both screen and stage adaptations. I'm Victoria.
Laura.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Good. We closed on our house today, so we have officially sold our other home. I'm relieved.
It's great. Yes, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. What's new with you?
I've been working on a little something. So I'm doing a fall quilt block swap with the Rusty Crow Quilt Shop in North Carolina. And so I've been working on my block. So I'll make 12 of these and I'll keep one and then send the other 11 to the shop. And then I'll get 11 different ones from other people. And so this is what I've started working on.
Oh, it's a little gnome.
I haven't appliqued him down yet, but I think he's going to be so cute. My little
He
fall
is
gnome.
cute. Do you get to decide what block you do? It just has to be
Oh,
themed?
yeah, whatever fall.
Okay.
So last year I did one with them. It was pumpkin themed. And so I made a pumpkin quilt, a block, and sent those off. And I got back great pumpkins. We've also done,
So then,
we've also done a
well, so then when you get all the blocks back, what do you do with them?
I'll make them into a quilt.
Okay, so you get everyone all this other 11 blocks, and then you have a dozen because you keep a gnome for yourself, and then you make them all into one quilt. That's so cute.
Yes.
That's such a neat idea.
So when we record again, I'll bring out my pumpkin one and I can show that to you from last year.
Sounds good because it's perfect for spooky season.
I'll put it up here.
It's spooky season. This is why I have Edgar Allan Poe, but he's here all year round. He just fits in better now because it's spooky season. But he's always there in my office. But also, fun fact, I love spooky season because I was born on Halloween. This is my time. And I'm so glad that you didn't ban Halloween, that you let me enjoy it. You let me trick or treat. You let me dress up. You fully went into the whole spooky season time because my life would have been really boring otherwise.
And you were so cute when you were in school and pre-K and kindergarten, all of that, and you would get cake or cupcakes or whatever on Halloween. You always thought everyone was just celebrating your birthday.
Obviously, yeah.
It was very good. That is probably
Nowadays the kids are all special because every kid brings cupcakes on their birthday. Yeah, I agree. So what are you drinking anything?
Oh, I have tea. Like tea in my water, a flavor, and then water.
You have tea.
I have tea, and I have a bookish.
Oh, fun.
It makes me happy.
You put stickers on your Stanley. Good.
All book related.
Perfect. Well, I am drinking tea also. It's almost done steeping. It's a loose leaf that I picked up from the farmer's market called Harvest, which I thought was appropriate. But I'm also still sick, so I sound like death. So I figured tea would be the right choice.
Oh, you sound good.
But I also have a mango, what is this? Wheat ale, which tastes nice. And my water, as always. I'm trying to think, are there any other updates we needed to do?
I don't think so.
I'm still, currently non-podcast related that I'm reading would be, I'm still working on Alice by Christina Henry. I really like it. I could just sit and read it, except that I am a homeschooling working mom of 3, and 2 of my 3 are a toddler and a baby. So I just don't have the time that I normally do to sit and read. But I'm really enjoying Alice by Christina Henry, and I hope to read the whole trilogy because I just found out it's multiple. Huh? You did? Horror Alice in Wonderland? No. I'm still reading Alice.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have that one. It's on my shelf somewhere.
And it is okay. Yes, it's very good too.
Yeah, it's one of these.
Well, I am reading
No, what are you reading?
All the Light We Cannot See. It won the Pulitzer. It's by Anthony Doerr.
I've heard of
and
it.
It is World War II. It's very good. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Good.
I don't know, 45% done, maybe. So it's good.
You have read some real winners this year. I am barely scraping by, waiting for my children to get older so I have more time to read. Well, I also have to read for
That's
work, and I
that.
have to do continued education for work. There's there's a lot taking up my time. So I don't reading is one of my favorite hobbies in the whole wide world, and I just don't have the time that I would like to read. But I'll get it one day. I'll get it back. This is temporary.
My reading is slowed down. I need to work on my little gnomes. I've got to get them done because I need to get them in the mail by the end of the month. So it has slowed. I'm working on my gnomes.
So, what are you watching?
Since I'm by myself, I'll eat in front of the TV, and I've been watching Dateline. That's whatever I've needed to watch for our podcast. And that's it.
Right. Man, if I could get you into like the true crime law tube avenues I've gone down now, I think you would really enjoy it because you love Dateline.
I do. In
Yeah.
2020.
I've been watching a lot more Nancy Grace lately. Do you ever watch Nancy Grace? She is that fierce looking Southern woman who always seems angry because she's talking about crime stories. And right now she's on a huge Brian Koberger diatribe. She has tons and tons of episodes
Oh.
about Brian Koberger, who's that horrific man who murdered those 4 college students in Idaho.
Idaho.
And she
Horrible.
has made some great episodes on him, and she's never apologetic. She speaks her mind, and it's kind of refreshing. Even if she's wrong sometimes, she doesn't hold back. Well, I am watching, funny enough, I am watching with my husband a TV series called the same title of the book that we're watching tonight on the podcast.
Can anyone figure out what on earth we could be talking
I don't
about?
know. I don't know. Could it be that we are watching The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving?
So good.
So yeah, I'm watching the TV show Sleepy Hollow. So before we dive
Who
into this
knew?
book slash a million other things, please note for all of you lovely listeners and viewers that we have spoilers for everything. Anything we discuss could have spoilers. Nothing is off the table. We'll try to keep it relegated to just Sleepy Hollow content, but sometimes we slip into other things too. So just be aware that there are always spoilers on this podcast, but we're also both so chaotic in our conversation that usually we'll just gloss right over a lot of them. So Mom, was this your first time reading The Legend of Sleepy Hollow?
No. Was it yours?
Yeah, I had never read it before.
I did not know that. Well, I read
Yeah.
this years ago along with Wind in the Willows. Mr.
Okay,
Toad.
I have read that.
Yeah. So you've read that, but you haven't read Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Wow.
That is correct.
What did you think then?
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, most people, I would say, who are listening to this have probably heard of it and are familiar with the story. It is about a sleepy little town in New York in the, okay, this is going to be a theme. When is this set? What time period are we in? I never know.
I write it down. They don't really tell us. We know it's in Tarrytown, New York, and the glen is called Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, I gathered that much as well, but I don't
yeah,
know
I
when
don't
it's
have-
set.
I
I don't
have
think
the-
it's
the
I don't think
time
it
frame
says.
either.
But everything, all the other media that we see
Right.
that follows it comes very close to the American Revolution.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a Dutch town, and the story is centered on the local schoolmaster named Ichabod Crane, and he also is the local singing singing master. So he teaches them how to sing. He is a bachelor, so he sort of just lives with different families throughout the town. They feed him, they board him, and in turn, he watches their children because he doesn't get paid very much. Or not watches their children, he teaches them. And he is determined to woo and wed the local coquette, Katrina Van Tassel, who is an heiress to the largest estate in Sleepy Hollow.
Do you know, I went to high school with a girl named Katrina Van Tassel.
I did know that, but I forgot until you said it just now. Did her parents know what they had done?
No idea. I never put it together in school. I don't know if anyone else did.
That's funny. So he wants to marry Katrina Van Tassel because she's gorgeous and buxom and apparently has no personality whatsoever, just based on any version of this story I've seen. Sorry, that was like the bitterness in me. And she's wealthy. Like I said, she's an heiress. Her father has the largest estate in Sleepy Hollow. But he has a rival. Ichabod Crane has a rival named Brom Bones. Abraham something something. His actual name is Abraham something. But everyone calls him Brom Bones because
Yeah.
he's large.
Brom Van
Brom
Brunt.
Van Brunt.
Yes.
Okay. And basically, Ichabod goes to a party at the Van Tassels one evening where the whole little town is partying. There's dancing. There's a lot of food. Ichabod can pack away a lot of food. Apparently, it's mentioned several times in this very short book that he eats a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of the night, all the little townsfolk start telling their little ghost stories. And they like to tell the tale of the Headless Horseman. Brom is telling his own version where he says he challenged the horseman to a race and he won. And there's this legend that the Headless Horseman stops at the church bridge. So if you make it to the church bridge, you're safe if he finds you in the woods at night. And supposedly, like along with this
So I
legend,
like
the Headless
this.
Horseman is supposedly some Hessian soldier who died, who lost his head.
Right. That's right. So the ghost of the Hessian trooper whose head was carried away by a cannonball. So that was the thing. The head was taken off by this cannonball during the Revolutionary War. And his body is buried in the
Yes.
churchyard. And so supposedly his ghost rides to the scene of the battle in its nightly quest of its head. They also called him the Galloping Hessian of the Hollow.
So I've been pronouncing that wrong this whole time.
I have no idea. I say
'Cause
Hessian, but it could be
I've
Hessian.
definitely been saying Hessian. Well, I just looked it up and you're saying it correctly. It's Hessian. No, you do know because you're right. I'm wrong. But now I feel stupid because it's not Hessian. So anyway, Hessian. Okay, supposedly according to the lore of this little town, the Headless Horseman is a fallen Hessian soldier from the Revolutionary War. And Ichabod is out on his old borrowed horse named Gunpowder, who does not live up to his name anymore and is this old, decrepit horse. And Ichabod is trying to make his way through the woods and he's nervous. The sights and sounds of the woods at night are confusing him and creeping him out. And he starts whistling because that's what he does too. That's what everyone's used to him doing. Everyone knows his whistle. They know the sound of his voice when he's singing a psalm. And that's what he starts doing. He starts whistling. And the Headless Horseman appears to him in the woods at night and starts chasing him. And Ichabod tries to outrun him. He makes it to the bridge. He thinks if I could just cross the bridge, I will be safe. But unfortunately, the Headless Horseman continues to pursue him and actually throws his head at him, knocks him in the head. Ichabod goes flying, and he is never heard or seen from again. The horse shows up with no saddle and no rider, and all they can find of Ichabod is a smashed pumpkin on the road where he should have been heading home, and no one ever sees or hears from him again. So I loved the story. I knew the story.
That was on the bank.
And his hat. I was very familiar with the story, but what I really loved was how well it was told. I think one of the reasons it's so prolific is because Washington Irving is just a very gifted storyteller. And what's funny is I was really needing to get this read, like this very, very short book that I have no time to read. I really needed to finish it. And so I had my son reading it to me in the car. And he's reading it and he's going, I don't get it. Like, he's not even telling a story. This is just describing people at a party. And I'm like, yeah, he's painting a picture for you so you can see it in your mind. You know exactly how he envisions it because of the way he's describing it. But also there's so much more to the storytelling that I know my 12-year-old son just didn't catch on to. That's masterful. It's wonderfully told, wonderfully written. And my son was bored, but I loved it.
I too loved it. It was fun reading it again. And I took notes as I read it because there were a couple of things that stood out. Now, this really stood out. This was when they were talking about different Headless Horseman stories. One is a man met the Headless Horseman returning from Sleepy Hollow. They reached the bridge when the Headless Horseman turned into a skeleton, threw him into the brook, and left. But then the second one, Brom Bones is returning from a neighboring village of Sing Sing. Sing Sing's the prison in New York, and I wonder when it became a prison. Isn't that interesting? Sing Sing. I don't know. That was just interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then Brom does
It's
marry Katrina in the end. They do get married.
Yes, you're right. Brom marries Katrina, which was her goal all along. Yeah, I guess I should have mentioned when Ichabod is leaving the party, he has been rejected, and so he's already very downcast because the author
Yeah.
purports not to know what happened between Ichabod and Katrina. He couldn't say he doesn't know, but all he knows is that clearly Ichabod was rejected and he's leaving the party very sad. And it really seems to be that it was Katrina's intent all along to marry Brom. She just wanted to string him along for a bit, humble him, I guess.
Make Brom jealous.
I was trying to keep track of Ichabod's vocations because I was confused because I had seen other variations of this story already. And so I was like, how many jobs does this guy have? But it turns out he only is a schoolmaster and a singing master in the book. That's it. Stop. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because I'll bring it up later.
Well, he worked at the farms with the farmers to help them out. He took care of children, watched over babes, singing master, and he was very good singing. He prided himself on his dancing as well.
That's funny because I interpreted that differently. I have a note in here that says Ichabod does not sound like Bing Crosby because of how it's described. Because it's of no little vanity to him. He thinks he's the most amazing singer ever. Where in his own mind, right. But what I thought was hilarious is that it says, on a still Sunday morning, there are peculiar quavers still to be heard in that church, and which may even be heard half a mile off, quite to the opposite side of the mill pond, on a still Sunday morning, which are said to be legitimately descended from the nose of Ichabod Crane. And I think it says later on, too, that he has a very nasally sound. And I thought that was hilarious.
Well, I wrote down, too, that, and this was about the eating. He was a huge feeder, and this is a quote, though lank, had the dilating powers of an anaconda. That is funny.
Yes, it is. There were a lot of things that were funny in this story.
Yes. So your dad and I went up to see Washington Irving's home. We went to visit, and we happened to be there September. And I took one of my favorite pictures of the whole trip was from there. So I have it.
Let's see. So for anyone listening, Mom is showing me a picture of it's one of those cutouts where you put your face in and you're a part of a different illustration when you do it. And it looks like you are the pumpkin on the Headless Horseman, and you're also Ichabod Crane riding away on gunpowder.
Great.
That's very funny. I love your faces. Yes, that's fun how you did that.
They turned out so funny. But we loved it. In Sleepy Hollow, New York, we saw the mill pond. We went there. They had
Wow.
a cemetery. And of course, Washington Irving is buried there. So we went there. There is no bridge. We did go hunting and we found a bridge, and they call one bridge the Sleepy Hollow Bridge, but it isn't the bridge. There is no covered bridge, but it was a really neat place to go. And they have a huge Sleepy Hollow Fest stuff in October. And of course that set up the thing that they were going to have coming on. There were pumpkins everywhere. It was decorated really, really well for fall. So Washington Irving's home in Sleepy Hollow, I recommend it. We did the tour. It was wonderful. We had a really good time there. And it's right on the Hudson River.
I would love to go visit that. That sounds like fun. I bet he would love that.
It was nice.
I want to. So before we move on to talking about how people took Washington Irving's very, very, very short story and turned it into so many different variations, I want to talk about the afterword. So did you read the postscript? So the postscript is something I wasn't familiar with the story. So the postscript actually basically is a storyteller talking about how his story was received when he told the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and that there's one little listener in the corner who's like, nah, I don't really believe it, or I don't believe the half of it. Well, then my version of the book, I don't know what yours is like, but my version has an afterword, and the afterword is by Charles L. Grant. Did you have this in your copy?
I have to go get the book and see. I don't remember.
Well, I want to read just a little bit of what he said in it because I think this is great. So he says, so this is a quote from Charles L. Grant in the afterword. We are too well educated, supposedly, and too civilized, supposedly, and we all know that there aren't any ghosts or goblins or headless horsemen waiting for us around the corner. We read on, and we know, don't we, that it was Brom Bones all the time, and that the pumpkin found on the side of the road was actually what hit Ichabod Crane. It wasn't a head. It wasn't a ghost. So let me ask you a couple of questions now that Sleepy Hollow is back to normal. When you walk down the street alone late at night, and the wind is blowing softly and the leaves are talking to themselves in the trees, don't you ever wonder what's making that shadow over there? When you're in the house or apartment alone late at night, do you ever wonder what made that quiet noise in the kitchen or in the attic, down at the end of the hallway? Do you say because you don't believe in such things that it's only the wind pushing at the walls or just the place settling or the radiator letting off a bit of steam? What's really more scary? Seeing someone's throat being cut in a movie or waking up in the middle of the night and seeing something dark sitting in the chair by your door? Watching a rubber creature stalk some actors through an old mansion, or hearing something scratch against the window when you know the wind isn't blowing. In the postscript to The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the stranger in the corner says at the end, I don't believe one half of it myself. Which half don't you believe, I wonder?
No, mine did not have that.
Isn't that great? I love it. So, I need to keep my book close because I have other notes that are going to be relevant. What do we want to talk about first? The 1949 movie by Disney?
Yes,
Tell me about it, Mom.
Disney stuck very closely to the book. They did a really good job. I was really surprised reading it again. And
Yeah.
they depicted Ichabod Crane
Yes.
like the book described him.
Hmm.
Lanky, tall, skinny, and
And
ate
followed the
all the
story
time.
so closely.
So closely. Really, really good. In the book, Ichabod looks over Katrina Van Tassel's dad's land. His name is Baltus Van Tassel. Looked over his land and saw dollar signs. How could he turn it into cash? And you see that in Disney. Baltus, the dad, loves his pipe. He's always sitting around smoking his pipe in the Disney film. Ichabod's horse is gunpowder. He's broken down. Ichabod rides him with stirrups so high his knees are up to the pommel of the saddle. That is just like how Disney does it. I mean, so Disney really looked at this and followed the book. I was really impressed with Disney's version, when you compare it to the book.
Yes, same. So for anyone who's not familiar, because I can't imagine that you aren't, but I'm sure there are people who don't know, Disney came out with a cartoon version of this story. It's a little short film called The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and it was in tandem with Mr. Toad from The Wind in the Willows. So there were two short stories that came out together, or short films, I should say, that came out together, and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow was one of them. And I have to say, Mom, I agree. I even took that, what you said about Baltus Van Tassel and Ichabod, heading to the estate and looking at his land and like seeing all the bounty and plenty that he could, take for himself if he were to wed Katrina. I put a note in here that says Disney version does great credit to this passage because it's great how Disney managed to animate that and illustrate it. There were so many times reading this because I'd been watching that film since I was, for as long as I can remember. But in reading this,
Yeah.
I could so easily picture Disney's version of the story and it fit with what I was reading. So I was surprisingly impressed.
In the book, Brahm taught his dog to whine when Ichabod instructed singers, and Disney depicted that.
Yes. Yes, I thought that too. I thought that too. The only thing Disney got wrong is that Bing Crosby is the voice of Ichabod, and Ichabod Crane does not sound like Bing Crosby in the book.
That's great. That's true.
But Katrina, she is like a buxom little coquette who's flirting with everybody and has everyone hanging off of her and never says a word, which seems accurate to the story. So, do you know what I was really hoping for, though, Mom? When I was reading this, I really, really wanted that little character who dances with Brom at the party.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted her to be in the book so badly. I love her. If you don't know what we're talking about, you have to go watch 1949 Disney version. And at the party, look for the woman dancing with Brom. It's the best. She's very enthusiastic.
He's hysterical. Very enthusiastic.
So you and I agree
Really
that
all
we were really impressed with how same. They did an amazing job with Ichabod's ride through the woods after the party, him whistling, everything's playing tricks on him. You know, he's here. We're getting to see all the different things in the forest that are playing tricks on him and like making weird sounds. The bullfrogs are saying his name, Ichabod, Ichabod, you know, the cattails thumping on the log that sound like horse hooves. So he's realized that he's tricked himself into thinking the Headless Horseman is following him until he's actually there. And it's so great. It's comedy and it's spooky. It's fantastic.
And that's in the book. They mention the frogs and the sounds of the forest in the book. So Disney depicted it so well. 10 out of 10, Disney. Disney just translating it from book to film. Excellent job.
Yeah. And I will say, I think it's a credit, again, to Washington Irving's ability to depict what was in his mind. His descriptive writing and his ability to illustrate with his words made it so that the animators for Disney could so accurately portray his vision. Because you can see it. He describes it so well. And okay, can we just talk about how much fun it is to be at Disney at Halloween and go to the Halloween parade and watch the Headless Horseman start off the parade because he rides through on his horse with the pumpkin. That's
yeah. Well, do we want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, first we have to mention that there was a 1980 TV film starring Jeff Goldblum as Ichabod Crane. Did you know that?
Never heard of it. Wow.
You are one of Jeff Goldblum's biggest fans. I've never seen this. I had never heard of it. Let me just see. Let's see what IMDb has to say about it. The little blip about it just says, angered that Katrina has grown fond of Schoolmaster Crane, Brom Bones determines to scare off the interloper by filling his head with spooky tales of a headless horseman. Crane disparages the legends until one fateful ride home in the dark of night. Sounds like the story.
Who is Jeff playing?
Ichabod.
Oh, he's Ichabod.
Ichabod.
Too handsome to be Ichabod.
Yep. Yeah. I'm trying to see if it even has it's a whole 6 stars out of 10.
Ooh, well, it could be worse.
Okay. So now that we've covered that one, I don't think that one's worth watching, but that's just me. If any of you guys have seen it and love it or hate it, let us know. Comment about it. We want to know if you've seen it and what that experience was like for you. So what were you considering to be the next? Were you going to talk the 99 movie?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk. Let's talk about this.
Okay. So I have something to say before that. It has to do with this. So if you remember, about 20 plus years ago, I got on an autograph kick and I would write to people.
Yes.
Say, hey, I really like your work. Okay. And I got autographs. But before that, when I was a little girl, when Star Wars came out, I saw it in the movie theater. I fell in love with it. I've been a Star Wars fan ever since. And so that was the first one. And then Empire Strikes Back came out. I loved it. And then The Return of the Jedi came out. And of course, that's the one with the Ewoks. I loved it. And by the time Return of the Jedi had come out, I'd been in 3 plays. So, I felt like I was great and I'd make a great Ewok. And so I wanted to be an Ewok. I wrote Mark Hamill and said how great I would be as an Ewok.
How old were you?
Ewok in his next film. I think I was 10 or 11. And so I just thought, I'd be a great Ewok. And so I don't know how my letter got to Mark Hamill. I don't know what my dad did. Did he send it to a studio? I mean, I honestly have no clue. There was no internet. So I'm digging around getting ready for the podcast, I was looking for our poster and our program and all that stuff. I came across his picture that he sent to me.
You have his picture. And look, he's just a little baby. He's a little baby Mark Hamill.
My very
Aww.
first.
That's awesome. For anyone who's listening, Mom is showing me the picture that she got from Mark Hamill when she was just a little girl.
So I have that, and I thought, well, won't it be fun to see if I ever have autographs from things that we're doing during the podcast? I do.
Yeah.
And Katrina Van Tassel is played by Christina Ricci. And there's a picture of her.
I have Christina too.
You do too?
That's awesome.
And then
I have Christina's autograph.
Ichabod is played by Johnny Depp.
You have Johnny Depp.
Yes.
What is that picture? Well, he sent you a great picture. Hi, Johnny.
It's like, wow, I have both of them.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I have Christina. I don't have Johnny. I should write to him, though. I watched his whole dang trial. What?
Yeah, you should. You should. You might get Jack.
I should be like, I supported you the whole time, Johnny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
let's talk about this.
It's shocking.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. Okay. I had never seen this. Had you?
What, the movie? No, I had never seen it before.
Mm-mm. So just in the prologue alone, the first person we see, I just went, oh my gosh, it's Martin Landau. I was stunned. He just had a cameo, not even credited. Martin Landau, not even credited. And he was Peter Von Garrett.
Was he the guy who got okay.
And then
the first person we saw, was he
first one that died?
Was he the guy driving the coach, or was he the guy in the coach?
One in. He's the one in.
Well, they both got beheaded.
The one in the coach. So Martin Landau was in Ed Wood with.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who Martin Landau is.
Martin Landau, he has passed away, but he was known for playing Bela Lugosi in Ed Wood. He won the Academy Award for his portrayal in that. And if I'm not mistaken, Johnny Depp is in that with him.
And that's a Tim Burton movie too, isn't it?
That's a good question. We haven't brought that up. Tim Burton does this movie with his partner in crime, Danny Elfman. Love them.
Yep.
Yeah, so now I've got
who composed the music.
Seems like it is. What's Tim Burton, of course, and Johnny Depp, Martin Landau. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Ray, my husband, when we were watching this, I told him, I said, Tim Burton definitely has his favorites. And very early on, we find out that the Hessian soldier is played by Christopher Walken, which I was not expecting.
Yeah.
I did not expect Christopher Walken to be the Headless Horseman.
Okay, but then there's
with like weird pointy teeth.
Yes, that was weird. In the prologue, Alan Armstrong, he's a character actor. You don't know his name, but you've seen his face, and he plays the High Constable. And Christopher Lee is the Burgermeister.
Christopher Lee.
Wow. And he's the one that sends Johnny Depp.
Very small.
Very small. Ichabod Crane is a constable. Constable Crane.
Yeah. So that's what confused me. Because in the TV show that I'm watching, which is from 2003, he's a Revolutionary War soldier who died beheading the Hessian soldier. They died together, basically. And then he wakes up, Ichabod Crane does, in modern times and starts helping solve crimes around Sleepy Hollow with like a police officer. Yeah, named Abby Mills. So it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. But they're all like paranormal mysteries.
That is so different.
So it is very different. But again, he's like a crime detective. And in Sleepy Hollow, the movie, he's a constable. And then in Sisters Grimm, okay, the children's book series by Michael Buckley, Ichabod Crane is a character in it. And he is a police deputy. So I was reading the story thinking, at some point, does he become a constable? Because why do these other variations of him have him as a detective or a constable or in some sort of police work? I don't understand.
I know. Christina is Katrina Van Tassel, and she looks stunning in this movie. I didn't know what she would look like with that blonde hair. And her voice sounded great. Her speaking voice, her delivery was so good. I really, really liked her. And she plays the daughter of Dumbledore, Michael Gambon, and the
I love Michael
stepdaughter
Gambon.
of Rita Skeeter, Miranda Richardson.
Oh, Miranda Richardson. She's so
Dumbledore
much
and
more
Rita
than
got
that.
married.
I love her so much. Ugh,
Love Miranda.
she's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have
Yes.
Vernon Dursley,
Mr. Dursley, Richard
Richard
Griffiths.
Griffiths.
He's the magistrate. Who else did you write down?
I wrote down Jeffrey Jones
Jeffrey Jones, Ferris Bueller's Day Off principal.
and Beetlejuice, the dad in
And
Beetlejuice,
yes.
but also now known as the guy who shall not be named. If you know, you know. Ian Mc, I don't know how to say his last name. McDermott.
Ian McDermott. For all you Star Wars fans out there, he's Star Wars. He's the Senator Palpatine.
Emperor Palpatine.
He is.
Okay. And then that's for all the Star Wars fans. I'm not enough in the lore to get that difference correct. But then for all you Batman fans, especially the Michael Keaton Batman lovers, we have Michael Goff.
That's right.
AKA Alfred. This cast is insane. And I was very excited to see so many of them show up on screen. But, Mom, I had the biggest reaction to one person in particular whose name I didn't even know, but I knew his face. And I got so excited when I saw him that I grabbed my husband, I gasped loudly, and I went, Duncan! And then I texted you. But apparently now I know his name. It's Stephen Waddington.
That's right. Who plays Duncan in one of my all-time favorite
He's not Duncan in Sleepy Hollow. Yes, and I had never seen him in another movie ever. And then he just appeared with the same exact hair in Sleepy Hollow that he has in Last of the Mohicans. It's the same hair. And I was like, it's Duncan. Oh my gosh. I was so excited. But also very sad because he and his whole family died in the movie, and I wasn't pleased by that. A lot of people died. We didn't even mention that Casper Van Dien plays Brom because I don't know who that is.
Okay, I don't know who it is either. I know the name because it's a very different name. Casper.
I don't know the name.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything before. But in this film, Bram hardly says anything and he dies. He dies. He's beheaded.
Pretty early on. Gets sliced in half. That part when the headless horseman comes in and just slices him in half and you see his body fall. My husband just goes, huh, nice.
I never expected Ichabod to be so funny. And Johnny Depp played him. I mean, I found myself laughing so many times by some of his actions and some of the things that he said. Of course, he didn't believe the stories about the Hessian ghost and who came around decapitating people. He didn't believe it. There had to be another explanation. But then Mr. Dursley was decapitated in Crane's presence. And then he knew. He was like, oh my gosh, he was decapitated. I saw it.
By the headless horseman.
And Dumbledore's going, yes. Dumbledore says, I told you so.
Yeah. Michael Gambon is like, yes, I know, I told you. Yes. And Ichabod is like, no, you don't understand. It was a headless horseman. He didn't have a head. And Michael Gambon's like, yeah, I know. Yes, that's right. That's why you're here. We told you this. That scene cracked me up. I was laughing so hard. That was very funny. They both played it perfectly.
And it ups perfect. And it upset Ichabod so much he had to take to his bed.
Yeah. He was very goofy. And I didn't expect him to be goofy. I don't know really what I expected, but he was very goofy in a fun way. And so this story, I mean, sure, it draws from the original short story, but it definitely adds a lot. There were a lot more deaths. We don't even know if there are actually any deaths in this short story. But in this, there are tons of deaths, so many beheadings. We see the Headless Horseman so many times. And I'm not going to get all the way into it, but it's there's this thing with a tree and all the heads are under this tree and there's all this mud and whoever has the buried head of the Hessian soldier is the one who controls the soldier. So they're trying to figure out who controls the soldier and they think it's Katrina. It's insane. this storyline.
There's so much blood, and I was very, very grateful that the blood was
It was very
obviously
gory.
so fake because I can't handle
Yeah.
gore and I can't handle that kind of stuff. But this blood was so fake. I'm like, oh gosh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I have to look at what I was texting you because I was texting you live while I was watching it. And I didn't text you too much, but
Yeah.
let's see. I said in all caps, I texted you, "Oh my gosh, Duncan." And I said it's crazy that Johnny Depp can play wacky characters like this, but the one what did I say? I think I meant to say, but then can be completely believable, sober, and subtle as Gilbert Grape.
Yeah.
I also said poor Alfred from Batman has seen better days. But then also later on, I texted you, Duncan, no.
I know.
And then I go
And
on
I
like a
love him.
whole rant about how much I love Miranda Richardson.
Yes. So
And
you were saying that whoever has the headless horseman's head controls him, and that's true. We learned that a little bit later. And so whoever is doing this is sending the horseman out because he only kills specific people. He only beheads those people he's been told to.
yep.
Otherwise, he sees you, he'll walk away. If you're
Yeah.
not, I
Yeah,
don't
that
think
was
he would have
interesting.
killed
Yeah,
Brom.
he totally ignores Ichabod.
Except yeah, Brom kept fighting him and kept trying to go after him. And I guess the horseman got tired of him and just killed him. Because I don't think he was supposed to go
Yep.
after Brom.
No, I don't think anyone gave a rip about Brom. Brom
Yeah.
like hardly had a character in this, which was kind of funny.
Hardly at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So, spoiler alert, the main villain of the whole story is Miranda Richardson's character, Lady Van Tassel, Katrina's stepmother. And I just love her. It was such a juicy role for her,
And
and
she
she
was
ate it up.
juicy. And she would cheat with the different men who we have listed, all these different men. And then for her gain, her own selfish gain, and then she'd have the headless horseman lob their heads off.
In different ways. I think there was only one that she actually had an affair with. She had something on all
Well,
of them, but they were all different things.
yes, she had something on all of them. You're right, you're right, you're right. The one at the
Yeah,
beginning was another lady. Yeah, you're
was the
right.
maid. Yeah, was
Yes,
the
the
maid
maid.
who ended up beheaded as well. But she also had a
Spoiler
sister,
too.
but like
Yeah,
what?
the hag. A spoiler too. The Hessian.
Oh,
First see him, he comes
yeah.
across the two little girls, and he tells them,
Yes.
Miranda Richardson's little girl. She breaks a stick and it makes everybody turn, and that is when the Hessian is killed. Well, then we see years
Yes.
later, grown up, that Miranda Richardson was that little girl that broke that stick. And so they had that.
Mhm.
She knew who he was from the time she was a little bitty girl.
Yeah. Yeah, and her demise was horrible because they basically Ichabod and Katrina basically just offer her up to him and he takes her down under his tree to her final resting place with him.
Because they give him his head back. And so he puts it on and it grows the sinews and muscle and he gets his face back. And so he gets his head back. And
Yes.
then, yes, he takes her with him. Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah. It was
So, what
what
did
did
you
I
think
say? I
about?
finally texted you.
Oh,
Well, by the end of it, I said,
well,
what?
I loved in the end, we see Katrina Van Tassel, Ichabod Crane, and then a little boy had been there helping Ichabod solve this case of the Headless Horseman. And we see them in New York City for New Year's 1800. So this movie was set in 1799 before the turn of the new year. And I love what Ichabod says when he's describing New York City to the little boy. The Bronx is up and the Battery is down, which is a great line from the song New York, What a Wonderful Town in On the Town.
Yep. Yep. I caught it too. And I started singing it to my husband. And he told me it was time for bed. But here, let me give you my husband's final quotes on the movie. His final quotes were Ted did a pretty good job, as in Tim, he meant Tim Burton, and could have used a little more gore. Those are my husband's quotes on the movie. Yeah.
There was enough. Those
So overall, I mean, I think it's become kind of a cult classic film where there are some people who just love, love, love this movie. Is it one that I'm going to revisit? I mean, maybe to introduce my kids to it one day, but it's not one that I'm on my own and I'm like, I gotta watch that again.
No, I will watch the Disney one again.
A quick note on the 2013 TV show. So I realized that there's like at least 4 seasons. I don't know exactly how many seasons there are of this show, but there are a few seasons of a show called Sleepy Hollow, and Ichabod Crane is a main character in it. And like I said earlier, he is like a Revolutionary War soldier who is raised into modern times. He wakes up in modern times and he helps a police detective in Sleepy Hollow named Abby Mills solve paranormal mysteries. It's got kind of like the same fun feel as some parts of Once Upon a Time or Doctor Who or Supernatural, but all sort of combined. And I really, really love the guy playing Ichabod Crane. He is absolutely nothing like the book, not even a little bit. He is suave, he is funny, he is charming, he is beautiful, he is not awkward looking at all. And he's not a teacher. Well, actually, he was. He was a Cambridge professor, I think, or Oxford professor. I don't know, before the war. And he defected to the Patriots. He started fighting with the Redcoats and defected to the Patriots. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I was like, well, you know what? For the podcast, I'll watch like one episode. And just so I could say I saw an episode. And no, I am fully invested. I'm watching this thing.
Well, they took a
So,
page out of Rip Van Winkle, too, if he wakes up in the present age.
yeah, it was weird. He was like in some kind of frozen cave. It was weird. You're not going to know
Captain
this guy,
America.
but I was like, who's playing Ichabod? And let me look up his name. Ichabod. Sleepy Hollow. Tom Meissen. He plays Ichabod Crane, and I thought he seemed kind of familiar, so I looked him up. I never would have recognized him because I have seen him in something before, and I loved him in it, but I didn't know it was him. You didn't see the remake of like the miniseries for Four Weddings and a Funeral on Hulu, did you?
No.
Okay. Okay, follow me. His character is married to the actress's character, the actress who plays, I can't think of her name, Michael Crawley's first fiance in Downton Abbey, who dies.
Yeah. Right?
Okay, so Ichabod Crane's character is married to Michael Crawley's fiance's character in Four Weddings and a Funeral. And he
Crawley.
plays a character named Quentin. What did I say?
Michael.
I meant Matthew. And they are hilarious. And spoiler, big spoiler, if you want to watch the Four Weddings and a Funeral miniseries on Hulu and you haven't seen it yet, this is a big spoiler. Quentin, Ichabod Crane's character, he is the funeral. He's the one who dies. And it's very sad because he is just a very fun, kind of like grumpy, but also very endearing character who loves his wife and son very, very, very much. And so his death is very unexpected. But I just loved his character and I had no idea that he was Ichabod Crane. So it's fun to get to see him in something else too. So that's it for the TV show. I'm fully enjoying it and invested in it, and I'm going to keep watching it.
That's awesome. I may have to find it.
I got it from my local library.
Fabulous place.
Sorry, there is one more thing I have to, hold on. Can we just appreciate how Washington Irving describes Ichabod Crane? I'm going to read his description, okay? And we already know Disney did the best at actually animating this character and portraying him the way Washington Irving wrote him. But this is how he's described. Quote, "He was tall, but exceedingly lank, with narrow shoulders, long arms and legs, hands that dangled a mile out of his sleeves, feet that might have served for shovels, and his whole frame most loosely hung together. His head was small and flat at top, with huge ears, large green glassy eyes, and a long snipe nose, so that it looked like a weathercock perched upon his spindle neck to tell which way the wind blew. To see him striding along the profile of a hill on a windy day with his clothes bagging and fluttering about him, one might have mistaken him for the genius of famine descending upon the earth, or some scarecrow eloped from a cornfield. Now, Mom, when you hear that description, don't you immediately picture Johnny Depp?"
Of course. Disney did it right.
Okay.
Love it. Sleepy Hollow, the musical. There we go.
There it is.
So,
Mom, was this a Broadway production?
Oh, no, this was not a Broadway production. From what we can what we've learned about this show was it looks like a college, was it in Illinois? A college somewhere wrote this musical. And I think they had the hopes of maybe getting it looked at for Broadway. Some of the music is truly beautiful. They have many, many beautiful, beautiful harmonies, some 8-part harmonies, and we didn't have the singers to do that.
Mhm.
But it was really, really lovely, some of the music. But the storyline was interesting, and there were just so many plot holes. It really needs a lot of work. What did you think?
Okay, let's see. It was 2016 when we did this. It was my first show here in Kansas at the Columbian. And it was my first show, honestly, in a long time. I hadn't done anything in high school or college. It had been a long time for me. So I did it because you really wanted me to. So I auditioned,
We hadn't done a show together.
and
Yeah.
no, we hadn't. And so I auditioned, and you were supposed to be the stage manager because you were in auditions. You were watching auditions, but you ended up in the show. Why is that,
Yes.
Mom?
We just didn't have someone that could sing one of the songs.
Oh, you mean the best song in the entire show?
Yeah.
It
Song. It
was
truly is.
such a good song.
It's
It was
called
such a
Vanished. If you ever want to look for it, Vanished from Sleepy Hollow the musical in Act 2. It was very good.
I
But yeah,
cannot remember anything. I can only remember one thing that I sang, that my character sang. Do you want to hear it? I remember it. It's the only thing
go for it.
I can remember. All I can remember that I sang, and I know I sang more than this, but all I can remember, and bear with me, I still don't have my voice fully back from being sick, but I sang, "And I brought him gingerbread." That's all I remember. I can't remember anything about this show, Mom. Thanks. That wasn't the right key.
We had Ichabod, we had Katrina Van Tassel, we had Brahm. Those are the only 3 people that you will know. Otherwise, they are Baltus. Baltus, he is the dad, and of course the headless.
And Brahm.
And those are the only.
Then we had Brahm Bones.
Right, Brahm and the
Yeah.
headless horseman. So my name was Gusta, and I had 3 children, and Victoria's name was Rosalie. And she had a brother who is her now husband. His name was Foss.
That's how I met him. Got to keep it within the family.
So that is one great thing that came out of this Sleepy Hollow was Victoria met her husband.
Oh, you mean the only great thing that came out of this production?
Hey, I loved that song I did. It was
That's true. It was a great
Ichabod.
song.
Ichabod was very mean in this. He wasn't
Oh, he was
nice. He was the
horrible.
He was horrid, horrible to the kids.
He beat the
And,
children.
I mean, you're just going, this isn't the Ichabod that I know. And paranormal stuff would happen. And he always seemed to
Yeah.
miss it somehow. But there ended up being a witch.
Yes,
and,
gosh. It got so
like
weird.
a twin. The whole thing, it was really kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Actually, I have the cast. At the end, you find out that this woman who we'd been friends with all these years, all this paranormal stuff had happened. My husband had vanished, hence the song. Other people had experienced their own things. And then this one woman, her sister had died, had perished. We find out in the end who the sister, let's see, her name was Sabine, and she had a twin, Sabia or Sabilla or something like that. And the twin had died. Well, then in the end, we find out that the Sabine we know is really the evil twin, and she had killed her sister and put a curse on everybody, all this crazy stuff. The Headless Horseman gets her in the end, right?
Yeah, I think. I remember a poor man waiting backstage the entire dang show just to run out on stage for like 5 seconds because he just ran out on his own 2 legs because there was no way we were going to do any kind of a horse situation.
No.
But
It
I
was
don't remember
amazing.
why he ever came out on stage as the Headless Horseman. I don't remember why he was there or what role he played.
He had his sword and everything, and I think it was to
I
fight.
remember. I just don't know why. I can't
But
remember
then
why.
he's also Dietrich. He is the good sister's sweetheart, who I think the
Oh.
evil one had killed, and he became
I
the
didn't
Headless
remember
Horseman. So
that.
the good sister and the Headless Horseman reunited, or Dietrich reunited, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's right. That's right. Oh, that got so weird. That was such a weird show. Oh my
So
gosh.
what
Yeah,
you know of
Mom,
Sleepy
I
Hollow
think
is not this show.
I have blocked a lot out from that show. Plus, I was like way too busy being smitten with Ray. Like, I was just like head over heels for him from like day one. So I was preoccupied. I think the only reason he and I both stuck with the show is one, because I was in it with the two of you, and he only stayed because I was in it. So it wasn't because of the show. Let me make that clear. It wasn't because of the writing. It wasn't because of anything to do with the actual script or music. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with the director. The cast was wonderful. Our crew was amazing. It was the director. And it's the only show this person has ever directed at the Columbian. Will never direct there again for good reason. And yeah, it was just not a good experience. This was not a kind person. This was a very kind of a bizarre person who made some really weird choices with the show. The show was already weird, and this person made it like 12 times weirder. But I had forgotten. So I was revisiting this show. There was a production. I don't know if they're community. I don't know if they're professional, but they are good, who put their production up on YouTube. And so I was kind of watching through it to remind myself of some things. I forgot just how much of the music we cut out or just turned into dialogue. There was a lot that we cut. But I also was remembering my character. I'm glad I wasn't Katrina. My character was more fun.
Oh, you definitely had a fun character. You got to go crazy, and Katrina was very, okay.
Yeah, Katrina, no.
And I was,
Okay, look,
no.
look, look. Katrina in every version of this is so boring. She has no personality. The most interesting Katrina is in the TV show, actually, because she's like a witch and she's dead and she's actually married to Ichabod, which is another thing that I thought was interesting is that let's see, in several versions, Katrina ends up with Ichabod, or at least in 2.
She does in the Johnny Depp one.
Huh? So, but that's not in the book. And she
No.
doesn't end up with him he doesn't end up with anybody in the stage version. I don't remember what happens to him. I know at one point he was tied to a tree. Mom, what happens to Ichabod in the stage?
He's run off.
I just remember him being tied to a tree.
All we know is he is run off. So there's another book that I read several years ago. It's called The Spell Book of Katrina Van Tassel, and it's by Alyssa Palombo. And I only gave it 2 stars. It just wasn't really up my alley. But I mean, it could be interesting for other people to read. And it gives a different take on Sleepy Hollow and the story of Brom and Ichabod and Katrina.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that as far as the production goes, there were so many things I do love about it. I will say a lot of the music was fantastic. I got to meet some very, very dear family friends who are still friends to this day. Can't imagine not knowing them, and I got to meet them through doing that show. And that's the thing I love about community theater is you meet family doing community theater. Quite literally. I literally have my family because of community theater. I'm married to my incredible husband. We have 3 beautiful children, and that never would have happened if it weren't for this weird show where we played brother and sister. And I got to do it with you. Community theater for me has so often been a family affair because for a long time I only ever did theater with you or you and Dad, much to Dad's chagrin.
He willingly did it. He wanted to be with us.
The best thing, it would be amazing if somehow there's a show out there where you, Dad, Ray, and I all end up on stage together. That'd be incredible.
That'd be fun. Maybe one
I
day.
would love it. But yeah, it was cool. I think the show had a lot of potential. And I will say, I think it's interesting that a couple versions of this story did rely so heavily on witchcraft. So, namely, the 1999 movie and the TV show that I'm watching really rely heavily on witchcraft. And I think it's interesting because all that's mentioned in the short story is that Ichabod Crane heavily believes in that because he reads Cotton Mather's
Yes.
book on witchcraft, who was a horrible, horrible man who was actually if you're not familiar, he was a historical figure who actually was responsible for many women, innocent people being burned at the stake due to witchcraft. But Ichabod Crane in the short story believes very much in Cotton Mather's tales of witchcraft. And I think it's interesting because it's kind of like a blip in the story, but people have taken that and have developed these massive storylines all around just that one plot point, which I think is an interesting way to take it.
Well, even our stage show had witchcraft.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. I just have to ask, when you watched the 99 movie with Johnny Depp and you got to the part where Ichabod visits the witch, how'd you handle that scene, Mom?
Yes. When he visits the hag, that one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was just like, what? What is going on? I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, really? Because I
Uh-uh.
pooped myself.
Well, really? Why?
I did not do okay. What are you talking about?
Because of the
You're
old
saying
woman?
you just watched that scene, no problem? Yes. What are you talking about? I was freaking out.
You
My
do know
husband
that
was
was Miranda
cracking up.
Richardson,
He thought it
right?
was
You do
that
know
was
that
her
was
the whole
Miranda
time?
Richardson.
Oh my gosh, Mom. Okay, look, I'm thinking about it right now and I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
She has an issue. Victoria has an issue with old ladies in movies.
It's
Yeah,
really
no,
dark in here, okay? I do. I have a problem with old women in movies.
no, it's blood and gore that get me, but the blood was so fake in this. I did okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with all of that. I was totally fine. And like, I love horror so much, but old women, man, oh, they're scary. I'm gonna be one day, God willing. But it was just the way, like her mannerisms. I loved her mannerisms and the way she moved when her veil was on. But when that stupid veil came off, I lost my mind.
Yeah, that was Miranda
And you
Richardson.
didn't? You were fine? You were okay?
Yeah.
Like Mom, her eyes popped out of her head. You were okay? Okay. I'm fine. It's fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I have a very early morning tomorrow. It is our first day of homeschool co-op, so I have to be bright and shiny and ready to go for that. We just want to remind all of our incredible listeners and viewers to support your local theater, support your local library. Remember to keep watching movies. And thank you so much for joining us. If there are other iterations of Sleepy Hollow that you've seen or read or heard about, please let us know about them. Let us know which ones are your favorites. What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? And what are your favorite aspects of this story? And also, my question is, what is it about Washington Irving's original short story that you think has inspired so many other versions that people took this story and have made it so much bigger? Let us know. Talk to us about it. We want to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram at watching_books. And you can also find us on YouTube or anywhere that you get your podcasts. So please subscribe. Please like this video if you're on YouTube, and please ring the notification bell and let us know what other books you want us to watch in the future.
Absolutely. We are up for it, but it has to be a film and stage.
All right. Well, with that, I am going to bed.
All right. Good night.
And I'm not going to think about Miranda Richardson as a hag.
No, not at all.
Good night, Mom.
As Mrs.
Love you.
Good night. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.